Yeah, good morning. All right, let's get our top 3 waiver wire priorities for Week 16, which I think the other storyline is all the running back injuries, although we think Woody Marks is going to be okay for this week. Jamey, who are your top priorities?
Michael Carter would be 1, Colby Parkinson would be 2, and Jaden Reed would be 3.
Okay, Michael Carter's got Atlanta. Colby Parkinson is Thursday without Devontae Adams, not officially, but Devontae Adams has been termed week to week, so not going to play at Seattle. And I'm sorry, who's the third one?
Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed, right? Jaden Reed at Chicago on Saturday. I think, would you say there's a chance Christian Watson plays?
It sounds like there's a chance. So just something to keep an eye on there. But I think Reed has an opportunity with Watson to still be part of this offense. Look, we're talking about, trying to find help at. For me, I was just trying to find somebody at every position. So, you can make a case that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt may be better than Jaden Reed, or, finding a defense or another quarterback. So I just look at it as like no Devontae Adams, no potential Christian Watson. Like Jaden Reed to me is the best receiver to go get.
All right, Dave, your top 3 priorities.
It's very much a get what you need type of week or a get what your opponent needs type of week. I agree with Jamey on the first 2. Michael Carter is the number 1 guy to get just because running back position's thin. Great schedule this week and next week, obviously, with the Falcons and then Cincinnati after that. And he should be the lead running back for Arizona. We've got some numbers on that. Parkinson, I've got some amazing numbers on him, why he could be like a good flex play this week. Forget about just tight end. Like, of course, he's a great tight end. But here's my favorite stat.
Yeah.
In the red zone, since week 10, he's had a 37.8% target share. 14 targets, 10 catches, 94 yards. We don't care about red zone yardage. 5 touchdowns. Half of his catches have been touchdowns. He's run the second most red zone routes since week 10 behind Devontae Adams, who's not going to play. And so that puts him really at the front of the line, or maybe Puka moves to the front of the line and he's just right behind Puka as a big-time target getter. And we know that the Seahawks struggled against tight ends for most of this year. So I think there's a huge opportunity for Colby Parkinson. I'll pivot on the third name. I'll still say Luther Burden is the best wide receiver to get. I don't know if there's another wide receiver that's got as much upside who could help you this week. And maybe he's stashable. The Packers matchup isn't necessarily great. He's got the 49ers after that. That's a pretty decent matchup. And if Odunze is week to week and isn't going to play, his playing time is only going to stay where it's at. He's going to continue to see some good volume. I would start DJ Moore ahead of, well, I'm not even ranking Burden right now because he's day-to-day, but it's going to be tough for me to keep DJ Moore ahead of Luther Burden if Burden practices Wednesday, Thursday, looks like he's good to go. Burden has been impressive. And so he's going to be third for me, knowing that if he ends up crapping out, not playing, I can still go to the waiver wire and find a wide receiver that can get me in that neighborhood of 10 PPR points.
Right, exactly. You don't have a lot of competition on the waiver wire, so if you want to take a chance on Luther Burden, who is day-to-day, whereas Rome Odunze seems like he's more week-to-week, they might shut him down for a bit to get that foot right. You have a better chance of pivoting to somebody because, there's less competition for wide receivers on the waiver wire. And Dave, I think you mentioned check your opponent's roster and see what your opponent needs. Because even if you don't need someone, your opponent might, and that could influence your waiver wire priority. Just a question about Michael Carter here, who had 14 carries for 56 yards and 4 catches for 38 yards at Houston. We saw him in week 5 have 18 carries for 51 yards and a touchdown and 5 catches for 22 yards against Tennessee. But he pretty much lost his job after that to Bam Knight. And I've been so unimpressed with him. But I understand the appeal. My question is, though, Atlanta, is this really a good matchup? If you look at how they've done lately, it really hasn't been that bad. Bucky Irving was disappointing on Thursday. Ken Walker had 10 carries for 29 yards. I think Charbonnet had a better game in the passing game, especially. Breece Hall, 19 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know. It seems like maybe they're not. I was like, oh, he's facing Atlanta. That's great. Then I went and looked at how they've done, Jamey. They haven't been like a sieve to running backs here. Production.
It's not a layup. You're talking about the volume that Carter's going to get, and hopefully continued work in the passing game. And so, is that where maybe DeMercado comes in now that he's got a week back of shaking off the rust? So there should be some concern there, but he's not going to run well. I mean, you're not talking about a guy that's going to go out there and average, 4+ yards per carry, or certainly anything above that. you're talking about a guy that's hoping to get 15 to 20 total touches. And hopefully of those 15 to 20 total touches, 4 to 5 of them are catches. So with how much Jacoby Brissett throws the ball, what the potential game script could be, it could be they're playing with the lead because that doesn't happen very often for Arizona, but we know Atlanta's defense hasn't been great. Could be that they're chasing points, which is typically what's happened for the majority of the 9 games that Jacoby Brissett has played. I think you're just hoping that he's, for me, better than Breece Hall and Quinshon Judkins and Ken Walker and these guys that have really been struggling because he gets this opportunity. And so that's where I have him ranked right now.
Okay. Tony Pollard or Michael Carter?
Carter.
Colby Parkinson or Darren Waller against the Bengals?
Parkinson right now.
As of now, but they're both going to be top 12.
I think the only thing that scares me about Parkinson, this has happened in the past where you get so frustrated. You pick up the trendy tight end. It's looking good.
It happened 2 days ago.
No, it's not that he has a bad game, not likely. It's that the other tight ends do something, and they use 3 tight ends a lot. They use Ferguson, they use Davis Allen.
Yeah, but they used Parkinson the most. They really made a shift toward him. He's not playing 100% of the snaps or anything close to that, but he's their Huggy Bear at tight end.
I
think the fact that you just saw a game that Adams left and everything was a season high for him. Targets, catches, yards, touchdowns, everything spiked. And now you get this fantastic matchup that he's already scored a touchdown in. There's a lot to love about the situation. So yes, there is the comparison to Isaiah Likely in that situation because it was Likely against the Bengals. Then 2 weeks later, he was terrible against the Bengals. But I'm just factoring in the injury here and the fact that he's got a chance here to keep this touchdown streak going and, at minimum, give you what he did against the Seahawks the first time around. So 2 catches, 12 yards, 14 yards, whatever it was, scores, get in the end zone. It's matchup, it's opportunity. Everything's falling into his favor.
And if we can take a stroll down Narrative Street, it's a revenge game. Former Seahawk. Oh, you didn't pay me. The Rams paid me. Guess what? He's going to Parkinson in the end zone. Maybe twice.
Yeah. So I just have to bring up that Jake Ferguson did lead all tight ends in routes run last week, but that doesn't mean I'm getting away from
Terrence Ferguson.
Yes, yeah. Terrence Ferguson had 29. I mean, it was very close. He had 29 and Parkinson had 26. Also, Parkinson I think he only had 1 target in the 4th quarter. So he actually was getting plenty of targets even before the Adams injury. All right. So we've got Michael Carter, Colby Parkinson, and then Jamey said Jaden Reed. Dave said Luther Burden, even knowing that Burden might not play this week, but still give you some time. He's got a chance, and he's been really good. The FFT Open. If you won your matchup in week 15, that means you are on to the FFT Open semifinals against 23 other division winners. So the 24 divisions have been decided. Jamey, did you make it?
I did.
Yeah.
Way to go, because Dan did not. Dan lost to someone named Man on the Can.
Yeah.
And Chris Towers lost to someone named Hurricane Ditka 2.0.
Okay.
So I think you're the only CBS representative.
I have one tough call right now.
There you go.
It's not real. No, I should say it. No, I don't have a tough call right now because if Marvin Harrison is out, then I'm rolling with I'm going to start Burrow again. It's going to be Burrow, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Wilson, Mike Evans, Kyle Pitts, and Bucky Irving.
Boy, your week is so dependent on maybe if Harrison and if London play because you have Pitts. I mean, I'm sure you're going to start Pitts anyway, but could be the difference between a good game and a great game.
Yeah, I could pivot to Colby Parkinson if I want.
Oh, wow. It's a Thursday matchup. All right. There are a lot of good tight ends out there, by the way. Someone asked, would you start Colby Parkinson over Harold Fannin Jr. against Buffalo?
I would.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Fannin has such a bad matchup. I think only one tight end is more than 5 targets against Buffalo, but look at this target volume for Fannin. You got to figure he's probably going to eclipse that.